It is 6:30. I'll call this meeting of the St. Mary's City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Buck.
Here.
Neal.
Here.
Christman.
Here.
Willoughby. Here. Fitzgerald.
Here.
Yulenheit.
Here.
Aquera.
Here. All rise. Please join Pastor Tim in a brief prayer.
Let us pray. Almighty God, on this day that we pause to remember our veterans, we thank you for all of those who have given so much to give us this life that we enjoy here today. Please bless all of our troops all over the world today who are out serving on our behalf. Pray for their safety and their protection, that they may be able to accomplish their mission and they may return back home as quickly as possible. We thank you for this new building in which you have provided us for here tonight, God. Thank you for all of the good work that went into developing it and giving it here to us. We pray for many, many years of leadership to our community may come from this place. We thank you for this opportunity, God, and pray that you'll bless all of us as we seek what it means to live together in community. We ask this in Jesus' name.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All have received a copy of the minutes from the past meeting. Are there any questions or comments from council? If not, may I have a motion to accept Mr. Buck, Mr. Schneal. Because we're still working out the electronics, may I see a show of hands to accept the minutes, please? All yeses, thank you. Under petitions and communications, we have a very special guest today, and with that in mind, I'm going to ask the mayor to make the introductions. Mayor Hurlbert.
Thanks, Mr. Harris. But before I do, I want to read something, if you don't mind. I want to welcome everybody here tonight. But today marks a historic moment for our city as we gather here to celebrate the opening of this new municipal building. It represents the beginning of a new chapter in our community's growth and progress. As we gather in this remarkable space, we reflect on the hard work, the vision, and dedication that has brought us here. This building is a symbol of our collective commitment to shaping a brighter future, one where civic engagement, collaboration, and service to the public are at the heart of everything we do. With this new facility, we are not only honoring our past, but we are also looking forward to our future. Moving forward with a sense of purpose, unity, and optimism. This building will serve as a hub for innovation, a place for the exchange of ideas, and a center where we will work hand in hand to address the needs of our community. Thank you to everyone who made this possible, and to all of you who have joined us in this momentous celebration. I have some special guests I'd like to recognize tonight that I've invited. First of all, I want to thank my wife and son-in-law and daughter for being here. Also, we want to welcome the Ambassador, Charles R. Paul, from the Embassy of the Republic of the Marshall Islands in Washington, D.C. Thank you for being here. State Representative Angie King is here. Thank you, Angie. Former Mayors Greg Freewald, I also know that Bob Ballinger is still alive and he is living in Florida. So you are the only three living former mayors left, I believe.
Kay Albert.
Kay Albert, you're right. Kay Albert, absolutely. Also, former Councilman Todd Flegel and Eric Motter. Thank you so much for being here. Together, we are laying the foundation for a brighter tomorrow. Thanks again for being here. I will. So with that, I'd like to introduce and give the floor to Ambassador Charles Paul, who, as I mentioned, is with the Embassy of the Republic of the Marshall Islands in Washington, D.C. Ambassador, thank you.
Stand right here.
here? Or?
Yes. Well, you can do it, sir.
Well, you can stand anywhere you want.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome to St. Mary.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
Before I had some, to be honest, I didn't know I was supposed to speak tonight, but the great mayor invited me to speak tonight. So I have some notes that I put together. And so here we are. Thank you so much. Mr. Mayor, thank you, sir. Mr. President, thank you. Members of this honorable and esteemed council, great people of the city of St. Mary's. Thank you so much for hosting me this evening, giving me the opportunity to address this honorable body. It goes without saying that every time I'm given an opportunity to speak to elected officials, I take that opportunity. And again, once again, thank you so much. Before I continue, I want to also thank all the veterans for the sacrifices that they've made, answering the call to defend the values that we all aspire to have. Congratulations to the city of St. Mary's for this beautiful new building. And I'm extremely honored to be one of the very first few to speak before this council in this new building. So thank you very much. I wanted to bring some warm greetings of Yahweh from the people and the government of the Republic of the Marshall Islands. As the mayor mentioned, my name is Charles Paul. I'm the personal representative and the ambassador of the Republic of the Marshall Islands to Washington, D.C. And the purpose of my trip is twofold. One is to support the Marshallese community that resides amongst this community in St. Mary's, as well as the surrounding cities of Salina and others. The community is hurting because of certain discourse. But I wanted to show the people of the Marshallese people here that we have their backs. And I personally felt, and the government felt, that it was necessary for me to venture all the way to Ohio to come visit you all. So thank you very much. And thank you very much for hosting our communities here in Ohio. And the second part of my trip is to build bridges. Introduce the Marshallese community. Here with me is also some of the members of the Marshallese community that have taken the time to come to this meeting. We have pastors, we have just members of the general public, including the OHMC, which stands for the Ohio Marshallese Community. And you will note that they put the name Ohio before they put the Marshallese Community. And the reason for that is to show their pride in the Buckeye State. So I have Lydia, who's the executive director, and the chairman and the vice chairman for the OHMC. It's a 501c3 organization, a nonprofit organization, and their mandate is to facilitate discussions and provide services to the Marshallese communities as they try to assimilate to Ohio. So how did we get here? Maybe that's in some people's minds. How did the people from the Central Pacific end up in beautiful Ohio? If I may do a quick history of the Marshall Islands. Now, it really doesn't do justice because I'm doing a quick history, abbreviated history, because the Marshallese history and traditions and cultures have spanned for thousands and thousands of years. considered some of the best navigators in the world, where they could easily use the stars and the waves to know exactly where they are in the vast Pacific and point to a specific island and just sail and get to it. And today we use the GPS. Back then we used to have a map, the original GPS, that showed the waves and how the stars aligned and things of that nature. So again, abbreviated. And I want to start between World War I and World War II. During World War I and World War II, we were occupied by Imperial Japan. And when the US Marines liberated the Pacific, one of the biggest battles was the Battle of Kwajalein, which every war historian knows that Battle of Kwajalein was one of the toughest and bloodiest wars that American service members and Marshallese suffered in the liberation of the islands. It was at that moment that our relationship was forged in blood, and it's carried on to this day. After the war, the Marshall Islands became a trust territory of the United Nations, administered by the US. Now, for practical purposes, the US administered the Marshall Islands just as if they administered other US territories, like Guam, CNMI, Puerto Rico, the US Virgin Islands, American Samoa. And this arrangement continued to when we became independent in 1986 by virtue of the Compact of Free Association. And that is the agreement that is between the two countries, the United States and the Marshall Islands, that allows Marshallese to be able to migrate to the United States. With that agreement, the U.S. controls our vast land, air, and sea for strategic defense purposes. The Marshall Islands host the Ronald Reagan, I didn't get this right, the Ronald Reagan Ballistic Missile Defense Site, SMDC, which is part of the Space Missile Program. And in lieu of that, our citizens can migrate to the United States, and they can serve in the U.S. military as part of the agreement. So our legal status here in the United States was created under the compact. There's no other legal status like the legal status that we enjoy anywhere else in the world with the United States. And that legal status is legal non-immigrant. So it's legal, but we're non-immigrants. The lawyers would have to explain that, because I've tried to wrestle with it in my mind, but somehow it works. So who are the Marshallese? So Marshallese in general are law-abiding, God-fearing, kind people. It's within our nature. Non-confrontational and very kind. The Marshall Islands has some of the lowest crime rates in the world, and I want to thank the mayor for pointing that out, because it's one of those talking points that I've lost as I've been doing this, due to everyone knowing each other. It's like St. Mary's, it's a small place, everyone knows everyone. So virtually no crimes. And traditionally and culturally, the extended family is a huge safety net for the Marshallese population, the Marshallese culture. So, and I was explaining to the mayor earlier, if I have a distant cousin that I might not have met before, but because they're family, they're family. So, that is the Marshall Islands in a nutshell. Now, the Hawaiian Marshallese community is a microcosm of the Marshall Islands in general. And it's the same whether it's in Arkansas or in Honolulu, Hawaii, or any other part of the United States. There are approximately around 4,000 or 5,000 Marshallese that live amongst us in Ohio. They work manufacturing jobs in the food industry. Even some are small business owners. They pay taxes. They follow the laws, just like anyone else. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the benefits of this compact is our citizens having the ability to join the U.S. Armed Forces. And the Marshallese population has some of the highest rates per capita in joining the U.S. Armed Forces. In fact, some of 7 or 8 of our citizens that live around Salina, St. Mary's, they were recruited into the military from the diaspora here, as well as 2 or 3 are in active reserve. And of course, it's fitting to have this meeting here today on Veterans Day. So with that, I want to, again, offer my thanks to the Marshallese and the American veterans for all that they've done. If anything, as I mentioned, I'm here to build bridges. I'm here to offer my office, my government, as a resource to the mayor, to the good council, and the good people of the city of St. Mary's. As a resource, as we build bridges, understand one another, and foster neighborly grace amongst each other. And as the mayor mentioned earlier, new building, new opportunities, and look towards the future. With that, with those very short remarks, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, members of the esteemed council, and the good people of St. Mary's, Pomo Dada, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. My personal opinion is to the people of the Marshall Islands, welcome. I hope you make this your home. Is there any other comments about the Marshall Islands? Yes, ma'am. Please stand. It's so crowded, you normally come to the podium, but stand, give us your name and where you live.
My name is Denise Cassidy, and I live on Cleveland Street here in St. Mary's. This involves the Marshall Islands, but it also involves this council. Last week, we were shown a video that everyone here has seen, where blatant racism and just judging people because they don't look like us. People say it's not racism, it absolutely is. And what really bothers me is that there was a council person on here who absolutely backed up one of those people in what they said. I've known her for years, she wouldn't lie. People started saying, we've got to do rezoning, we have to check into this. If you don't understand something, you are made to fear it. And then this same person, who I will not say, we all know, went on a fear-mongering campaign on social media, and our mayor kept quiet. That is wrong. This man should not have had to travel this far to deal with this. These people are our people. Just because they don't look like us doesn't mean they aren't us. This council, except for Mr. Aquaro, owes every single one of the Marshallese people in this community an apology. And I'm sorry, Mr. Cropper, I voted for you, but I do not know where you were last week. When you saw a fear-mongering campaign going on Facebook and her absolutely going after a council person who was absolutely given the wrong information by a senior council person, you remained silent, sir, and I'm disappointed in you. You need to do better. This entire council needs to do better. We can be in a beautiful building and we can say the great citizens of St. Mary's. I don't know this woman beside me, but let me tell you something. As a local business person, I have dealt with the Marshallese people. They are kind, they're considerate, and they pay their bill on time. And that's something I appreciate. And then it was brought to our attention that there was one Marshallese person who committed a murder. I have a friend from high school who did that. My sister-in-law was murdered, and guess what? She wasn't murdered by a Marshallese man, she was murdered by a white man. So the time has come for us to grow up. It has been 160 years this year that we became a unified country. And the death of a president who freed people of all colors. And it is time for us to grow up. And if you are racist, you learned it, unlearn it. It's embarrassing. And once again, other than Mr. Aquaro, and I am so sorry for the crap you dealt with on Facebook, that was ridiculous. And anyone, if from now on, why would you guys have just let that racism happen? At what point did we say stop? That you can't do this. This is wrong. We have an attorney here who knew it was wrong. We have the mayor. We have the president. We have the director of safety. We have all of you guys, and every one of you sat here and let it happen. I'm just asking you as a citizen to do better. And from now on, if one of you gets jumped on, you are here as our counsel. You are here to represent us. Even the not so enlightened people, back each other up. Because that young man stood alone, and he stood alone with more integrity than any one of you guys have. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Please stand and give your name, where you live.
My name is Leroy Huber. I'm from Mercer County. I worked in the Marshall Islands back in the early 2000s, 5 years. Nicest people I ever worked with. I was their supervisor in water and wastewater treatment. I saw that same video, I was appalled. I'm sorry, council, but you do have to do better. I treat all my employees with respect, my associates, your subordinates. I felt bad for these people. Shameful, shameful, whoever uttered those epithets against the Marshallese people here. You don't want to hear it? Tough. Everybody should grow up. That's pretty much all I have to say. If you want to know anything about the Marshallese, I suggest you all get a book by Francis Hessel. It's a priest, Franciscan priest, and read it, called The Tainted Civilization. It'll give you a great background all about the Marshallese from the time they immigrated from wherever, Peru, South America, Indonesia, all the way through. It'll give you a great background, know who the people you're actually talking about. And that's pretty much all I got to say. Thank you.
Could I get maybe a response? Could be something from the mayor maybe, or? If you please.
Yeah, I'd be happy to respond.
If you please.
Shortly after our council meeting, I had an opportunity to actually stop into the church that they bought. And I went in and talked to one of their associate pastors. And I apologized to him about the way they've been treated in this community. We've been in contact with the global pastor of the Marshallese Church, the Cathedrals and Chapel Church out of Hawaii. I've been in contact with him. I talked to him today and just shared our thoughts and concerns and how unfortunate it is with the way the Marshallese have been scrutinized in our community. So I have been in contact with them. I have done something. Go ahead.
The problem is, Mr. Mayor, is that you didn't do it publicly. That's the problem, because you are the voice of this town. You should have stepped forward. Why on earth were we in the Daily Standard? Are we the next Springfield? Are you kidding me? You should have stepped forward. You were so busy keeping your job, you failed to do your job, and you need to do that.
Is there anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name's Jill Brady. I'm the English language learners teacher. I work with many of the students of some of the parents in this room. They're a joy and they're wonderful to have as a part of our school. And I look forward to working with them every single day. And one of the aspects that language teachers always are concerned with is that it takes usually about one generation for their home language to be lost, and for children who speak one language to start speaking primarily English and not speaking the same language as their parents. And that leads to a breakdown of the family, and it leads to a breakdown of their culture and the community. And it's not a good thing. And we always try and find ways to prevent that, to make that so that they are able to keep those bonds with their families strong. And a church joining our community is a great way for those family communities and those family relationships to stay strong, and it builds their community and it makes our St. Mary's community stronger as well. So that's all I'm saying. Thank you.
I'd like to comment that when I was growing up, there was a lot of people from a lot of different countries that lived in my community. And it was very interesting that the kids I went to school with could speak English very well. Their parents, you could tell they had an accent. It was broken English. And back then, they had their grandparents with them too. They didn't speak any English. And it was really something to see. And I was mentioning to the mayor, this is not the first immigration. We've had it many times before. We'll get through it. They will come. They will benefit from us. We will benefit from them. And one of the chuckles I had, because I read a lot of history. To give you an idea how much easier it is today, is back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, there was such an influx from so many different countries that no smoking signs were printed in 14 different languages. So, they're here, they're welcomed, in my opinion, and let's give them some time. And we'll learn from them as they will learn from us. And that's all I got to say. Thanks. Anyone else?
I'd like to say something.
Yes.
I just want to say welcome, even though you've been here. 20 years in the service, I've served with countless people from all walks of life, other people who have joined the service from other countries for citizenship, and just have done wonders for moving our nation forward. Not all of us on this council are part of that Facebook group, so that's why you don't see such a public response from all of us. I had no idea it was going on, so that's why you don't see a response from me. But one person in this entire city reached out to me personally as a council member about this entire ordeal. So I just want to say, it's also a two-way street. If the citizens want something from council, you need to come to us. Not just put stuff on Facebook, because we're not all on Facebook. But that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Valentine.
Yes. There's a couple of things that I have to disagree with here. First of all, as far as Marshall East coming to our city, I have no problem with that, and I expressed that, I believe, the last council meeting. What I am concerned with is how we adapt. Not so much, well, as far as I'm concerned, both the Marshall East people that come into our community as well as our community itself. And whether or not there's going to be large number of people coming into the city, such as in Salina. Salina is a community of about 10,000 people. I don't know whether the Marshallese are counted on the census or whether they're not counted. Maybe the ambassador can tell me if he knows whether Marshallese peoples are counted in our 10-year census.
Yes, if I may,
Yes.
Please, sir.
Mr. President. My understanding of the US Census is that everyone gets counted.
Well, that's what I understood, but I've looked at some statistics as far as Salina is concerned. They've had about 10,000 people for at least 5 or 6 years. And yet, they also say that 1,500 Marshallese now live in Salina. That is a 15% increase in the population there. And our government hasn't done a thing to assist the Marshallese in adapting to our society, nor has it done a thing to help us adapt and unify it with the Marshallese. And I find that abominable. Our government, our federal government, has been one of the worst countries that I know of in treating foreign people. And the Marshallese have suffered since 1946 with the bombings that began in Bikini and surrounding islands and have lasted for 12 years. A thermonuclear bomb, I forget what it's called, the Castle Bravo, I believe, was the largest of these bombs. And it was 1,000 times more powerful than the bomb that decimated Hiroshima. Now that is how bad it was, and the islands that these people lived on were less than 100 miles away. They suffered with hair loss, with vomiting, with sickness, with radiation sickness. I don't know how many died because of radiation sickness, but I have to believe that it was quite a few. The United States moved them to another island that they said was nuclear free or radiation free, and it wasn't. In one island, they moved the people back because they said it was okay, and it wasn't, and they had to take them back to another island. In 1983, the COFA, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, COFA was signed through the United Nations. And the United States has done nothing since then to assist the adaptation of the Marshallese people here in this country. All they have done is allow them to come in as neither citizens or non-citizens. I don't know what to say. What are you people here? I mean, how do you describe yourself? You're not Americans, and yet you're not foreigners, yet you're not non-citizens, and yet you're not citizens. So, where does that put you?
He explained that already.
You put you in limbo as far as I'm concerned.
The gentleman
They already
explained that
explained it to
once,
you.
Bob. As far as their status goes, he did explain.
I'm sorry?
He did explain their status when he was speaking.
Well, I didn't understand the status because it's all I understand is it's not this or it's not that. So exactly what is it? Please.
Can I say something?
Yes.
My name is Francis John. I'm from Salina. I work at Cooper Farms. I asked you if I can come in here. I'm not talking on behalf of Cooper Farms. I've lived here for 15 plus years. Every single year, we file for citizens. We file those papers you're talking about.
Good.
All right? I may not be citizen, but I pay all the taxes that you have on your paycheck. Every single thing you have on your paycheck, we do pay that.
Yeah.
I work with the gentleman Duck at Walmart. My kids, that's their teacher right there, Kathy. We lived here freely. Are we citizens? You tell me, am I a citizen? I was able to get through Hawaii,
I'd like to think
through
you are, sir.
immigration.
I'd like to think you
I
are,
was
sir, but
able
you
to
can't
get through here
vote.
with passport. All I need is my passport to come in. All you need, Mr. Valentine, to go to Marshall's is your ID, because you are a U.S. citizen.
Right. I am a US
Like
citizen.
you said, like my
but
ambassador
you're held
said.
in limbo.
Oh, hold on, like my ambassador said, all right? He's here to build bridges. We're not here to argue,
Yeah.
we're not here to point fingers, but we're here to tell you, to show you that we're here together. Let's make this place a better place, all of us together. Instead of what Mr. Valentine said, I excuse him for saying all that to say. I listened to that video.
I'm not putting you down at all,
Everything you
sir.
said on that video was not true.
On what?
You said that they come to save the Marshall Islands and we kill each other because we were not happy with the compensation, the money that they gave us. Last video you said.
Well, that's what the internet history says.
Well,
is
I'm
that
here
they-
to tell you, Mr. Valentine, my name is Bryce John, and here's my ambassador. If you have any more questions, meet with the
I
ambassador.
intend to ask them, sir, if you'll allow me.
Yeah.
After you settled on this new island that the government gave you that was still radioactive, did you or did you not decide to have a non-nuclear country? Did you vote and agree to have a non-nuclear country?
This gentleman wasn't even born then, I'm not sure.
I was born
Well,
in
I don't know whether
1977.
you were born or not.
I have no idea what he's
born
talking
then
about. I'm
either.
good, I'm-
You know?
Where are you going with this?
Well, let me finish, please. If you will, I'll be happy to finish with that. As I understand, they voted freely to have a non-nuclear island. And after that happened, I don't know exactly what point it was, ostensibly the Navy wanted to put a submarine base there, a nuclear submarine base. And when that was disallowed because of the non-nuclear law that they had, the U.S. more or less cut them off, which created all kinds of strife for these people. It seems to me that the United States, in its lack of doing what is proper, has created all kinds of strife for these people since 1946, when it first started nuclear bombing their islands. And they have lied to these people again and again and again. And these people have suffered through all this. Now, China would like...
Mr. Valentine,
Yes.
we are talking about our new residents here in St. Mary's.
That is correct.
Not about history.
They need to know the history.
Sir,
We
I
all know
will
that.
shut you down.
They know that.
The ambassador.
No, I'm not talking about
I am
them, I'm
shutting
talking
you
about
down,
us. We don't know the history. The United States citizens don't know the history of the Marshallese people, and they need to. And they need to know how you suffered.
Okay, Mr. Valentine.
And now that we have this, and we're going
Mr.
into this, I'm
Valentine.
gonna be right here, present day, St. Mary's.
Mr. Valentine, you're done.
No, I'm not done.
Sir.
You gave me the floor, and I'm gonna continue to have the floor.
Sir.
And according to the rules of order, Robert's Rules of Order, I was given the floor, and I expect to continue that.
Sir.
There's no time limit on it. In fact, there's less time than I have had, than you gave both the ambassador and other people.
Mr. Valentine, please sit down.
I will not sit down. I am going to continue with
It's a
this.
history lesson.
Now,
No, we already
Mr.
know
Valentine,
that.
I'm going to ask you to sit
the
down.
people of St. Mary's need
Mr.
to
Valentine, I'm going to
have
ask
some
you to sit
support
down.
from both their federal government, from the local government, and from the state
Valentine.
government.
So now you call the Gestapo.
The what? I'm doing what is proper. I got a legal order there, and I'm going to take issue with it legally. It's on record. I wish to talk about a different subject as well, sir.
Ma'am.
In response response to how we should, with this original question of how we should integrate these people, how about we do that the way we do every time we get a new neighbor? Bake a plate of cookies, walk over, introduce yourself, and say, hey, I'm Eva, nice to meet you. You need to borrow a lawnmower? It's in the shed. What?
Why
Oh
are
my
you giving her a
God.
different time?
Okay. Is there anybody else?
Sorry, can I speak just a little bit?
Please stand, give your name. Where you
My name
live.
is Michael Capelli. I live in Salina. Nothing negative about this. I know that the ambassador can't speak on it, so I'll speak on behalf of the pastors. As a private citizen and a business owner in Salina, and part of the board for the Full Gospel Church in Salina, which was named in the last meeting, we won't point any fingers. But we're not going to be negative about this. We don't want to give this a spotlight for the news media or anybody else. Basically, I've talked to majority of the pastors. There are 9 Marshallese churches. I don't want to hear any complaints because there are probably 100 Catholic churches around here, so we can't be discriminating. I'm not, I know all in jokes, but we cannot say why is there that many churches. And I apologize, I do not know your name, the star of the video. Ma'am, not you, sorry. She said that 4 of the churches or 5 of the churches were under the same entity. I'm here to speak that there are 9 individual churches that run that, and all the pastors have basically given me permission to say, whenever you guys want to come to any of the churches, you guys are welcome. We can show you guys any of during the services, if you want to give your life, if you want to give your life to Christ, and after hours, if you just want to see if there's any cots down there. But I just wanted to open it up and make it. Sorry, like I said, I'm not speaking for the government. I'm a private citizen, but we are here to build a home, build a life, be part of the community. I know there was concerns about they can't pull over some of the Marshallese because they have no legal. No, they get the same fines. It's not our fault that the judge probably gives them a $75 fine, which is one of the statements. That is all court of law, whatever. That all has to do on its own merits. If I get pulled over and I was speeding 90 in a 45, I've already paid $300 for that speeding ticket. And so we as a community, we're here, we the Marshallese, we're here to live amongst the community here. Just because we have the Ohio Marshallese community, it's not to segregate ourselves, but it's to actually, for the people that are coming in, for us to be able to better understand the way of life here. We might adapt, but we will not change our culture because we are doing it differently than others. And a problem was just told to me. I apologize for taking too much time. Earlier today, the church that was just bought here in St. Mary's, they asked me I've already talked to the police department. There's a car or a truck, whoever drives that truck or car, that's stalking the kids or the church members whenever they're going to service. Go on in, see what they're doing. They said that every time they try to walk up, they speed away. So instead of spreading fear, why don't we all just welcome each other into our communities? Come into our churches. We have interpreters in every single church. Might be a little broken English, but it's all right. We all serve the same Lord. We are a Christian people, God-fearing people. We pay taxes. I feel it every single time it gets taken out of my check. So that's all I wanted to say. I didn't want to be negative. I didn't want to point fingers. Let's all just get past this. The ambassador's already here. He's already shed the light. Let's all just move on. Every time there's change, there's always fear. So let's go. Let's get it. Thank you.
Sir, in my travels and everything else, you go around Ohio like you have, you will find that there's Italian festivals, German festivals, Greek festivals, Polish festivals. Well, maybe in a few years you can have a Marshallese festival.
There we go. As long as there's food, I'll be there.
Does anyone else wish to talk about anything other than the Marshall Islands at this time?
I'm gonna say that. I was really upset about what happened, what took place in the chambers and in the other building. I have known Marshallese people for about 20 years in the community. They are not new to the community. I went to school with two, and they were great. So that and the phone calls I was receiving due to the fear mongering that took place in that other council. People crying, asking if they needed to sell their home, were their children safe. These are the things that I faced, and I really welcome the Marshallese people to St. Mary's.
Yeah. I have a different subject that I'd like to speak on.
Okay.
This last week I asked, I forget what her name is, worked downstairs near the engineering office about some zoning minutes. And I was not able to get them. Apparently they'd already been boxed up and brought over here. She said she'd call. I haven't received a call yet, but this is your first day of opening. I understand that. What I would suggest is that the city of St. Mary's put the zoning meeting minutes on your website. It's so easy then for people to see what's going on. You can also put on the website your intended zoning meetings. I believe that there's going to be one on the 25th of this month. The zoning committee does not meet unless there's a variance of some kind or some action that they need to take. Normally it's the 11th, well this month it would be the 11th and the 25th. However, there's nothing scheduled for the 11th as I understand, and there will be on the 25th. There's no good reason for not having that on your website. I believe that at one time it was suggested that you put it on Facebook, on the Voices of St. Mary's, which is a lot more people would read that than they read yours, your site. I go on your site occasionally because I want to find this out or that out, and I usually find that most of the information that I'm looking for is on there, with the exception of the zoning minutes and zoning meeting schedules. And I think that it would be well to have that on there. I was told that you don't put it on there because you're not required to. That's a poor reason. That's a minimalist reason. And that needs to be corrected. I think you should do whatever you can so that the people of St. Mary's can stay abreast of what is going on in St. Mary's and where the zoning is changing or fluctuating or special permissions are given, so forth. Last night, our last meeting, there was a number of you people that showed your absolute ignorance on zoning, because you said that all churches were in R1. They are not. There are 4, I believe, of the 10, 7, or 2 are on R1. 2 out of the 10 are on R1. The others are R2, R3, and R4. And R3 and R4 can apply for a special variance and become multifamily. And there's one down on the east end of town that has already done that. They've got 3 in what was a church. It's on Columbia and Pine, I believe, is where it's
You
at.
said there were none.
So I
You
think
said
it
there
would
was
really
none.
help to do that, and I was told tonight by my council person that there is, you're hiring a zoning expert to take a good look at our zoning and change it. I hope when you do that, that you create a map that's readable. Because when you go on the internet and you try to read the zoning map, it's impossible. And I've blown it up on my screen. I've got a 24-inch screen that I've blown it up on, and I can't read it. I can also transfer it to my 65-inch TV screen, and I can't read it. So that needs to be corrected. Thank you.
Ms. White?
Yeah, I'm here also about the zoning issues, because you did make a public statement, and there was a press release put out that all church, and Joe, you know, you made the statement right on camera that no churches could be a multifamily.
Well, if they're rezoned.
In other words, I had submitted incorrect information, no credible evidence, fear mongering, you know. You guys started this as far as fear mongering and misinformation and nothing accurate. Everything I said was accurate.
That church on Columbia Pine, I believe, is going to be zoned R3.
Okay, in R3, it is R3 as far as I know. But R3 has to have a special permit to be used for multifamily use. Do they have that? Because there's 3 mailboxes out in front, and I got calls saying there were people living there.
Yes, they were conditionally permitted.
Okay, then that's great. That's all I ever wanted to begin with. And everybody else, including you, made this a race issue, which it was never that.
Started it out, you.
So what I'm concerned with is a company coming in, a corporation that has 65 trade names under their corporation that they can operate under. When they come in and buy church properties, you expect that to be a church. And what I'm seeing is it's a possibility that that cannot happen. They can come in here and buy a church, and it can be a motorcycle club, or a swap meet, or a children's educational, all kinds of children's educational things. 64 different kinds of businesses can actually occupy that church, subject to zoning. And all I said was we need to make sure that when a church buys a church, or that was a church, that we know what it's going to be used for, and that's the conditional use permit. That's where that comes in. They are not zoned R1. If they were, there wouldn't be any problem, because it can only be used for either a single-family residence or a church. If they get the conditional permit use, which is allowed under R2, R3, R4, and R5, they don't even need it, that's multifamily. So move into multifamily, it's zoned multifamily, I have no problem. I don't care if you're black, white, red, green, or blue. What I don't want is 5 families moving in to live in a church that's zoned R2 that the neighbors think is going to be single-family residences, not a hotel for 100 people. And I think, I don't know of anybody that would disagree with that, and that's all I wanted to know. We have an R2 currently out in Miami Erie Canal subdivision. With a conditional use permit, you could build a 2-family building there. I don't think that fits in with the homes on those 2 streets. I just think we need to describe a church, first of all, because I think what I can see are, and this is in other cities too, this particular corporation is coming in as a church, but they have 65 other businesses they can put there. And I think they're using our zoning in the United States, our zoning regulations, for a way to skirt that and put whatever they want in after they're here. And after they're here and using it for that, it's hard to change them. So I'm just saying to eliminate the misunderstandings here of whether it's a church or not a church, or a men's singles club, which is one of their businesses. it'd be nice if we would define in the zoning, because we have the definitions in your zoning ordinances, or zoning regulations. You have everything defined except a church. It's the only thing that's not defined. And I think it should be, because when someone applies for a conditional use permit as a church, I don't think sometimes the zoning board's gonna recognize that that could be a men's singles club. See what I mean? So I'm just saying, clarify it so the people in the community knows what's coming in, and what's single family, what's multifamily. Because when you say to the public, it's zoned R1, all churches are zoned R1, it's not possible to be used for 5 families moving in there. That's not true. R1, yes, but 8 out of 10 of our churches are zoned R3, not R1. So it's a conditional use permit. So it's possible. Okay, so I wish you'd correct that to the public, because that's what my concern was at the first council meeting. And then you guys came back and said, oh, there's all this misinformation. You said there was legislation. Wasn't any, Mr. Aquero. So you gave the wrong information to the public too. So I'm the one looking like
Two
the idiot.
sentences, Judy, out of like 6 paragraphs, okay?
Doesn't matter.
It was
I
legislation.
retracted it in a post.
you
It
made
was
the-
handled, that is it.
You made
Last week, this was handled, that was it.
You made
Here
this-
you are again, the zoning issue was handled, and here you
No,
are
it
again.
wasn't handled.
These people are great people in our community.
I didn't say
You
anything
indicated that there
about
was
them.
another liar
You're
on
the one
council.
making that up.
Excuse me?
Oh my
You
God.
said there was legislation
Okay,
passed
okay,
that was
all right.
not,
Cut it off. That's
there was
enough.
no such
That's
legislation.
enough. That's enough.
You're still not admitting it, Mr. Aquero.
What am I not admitting?
That's enough.
I
can see
don't think
Your minds
Mr.
are not gonna be
Foxhoven-
changed, so let's end it right here. Is there any issue other than the Marshall Lease
I'd like for
community
council
wishing
to
address
correct the
council?
public statements that were made to the public.
And you should correct yours.
Yeah. What?
There was a lot of things you
Tell me the incorrect statement I made. and I will
400
correct it.
comments.
Excuse me?
Can we move on, please?
Oh, you don't
I said
have
that
it,
was
just
enough,
as
okay?
usual.
Yep.
He
Yeah,
doesn't
but he
have
didn't
it.
pay
That is enough, Judy.
I made no
Is
incorrect
there
statements
any
to the public.
other issue you want to bring before council other than the Marshall Lease community? If not, then we're going to move on.
I can bring up a humorous one.
Okay, reports of city officials. We have the mayor's report. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on, let me back up. I do have a legal notice. Notice is hereby given that the City of St. Mary's Council will hold a public hearing at 6:15 p.m. on November 25th, 2024, in the Municipal Building Council Chambers, 101 East Spring Street, St. Mary's, Ohio, to hear comments regarding the request to rezone 0.54 acre of land in the City of St. Mary's, Ohio. The property is currently zoned R3, single-family residential, and is requested to be zoned I1 industrial, said area being more particularly described as follows. The area between Canal Street and East South Street, and between the former Pine Street and Pear Street being lots number 10 and parts of lots number 11 and 12, and the east part of lots 7 and 8 in Block 12 of the East Addition, including portions of the R.J. Corman Railroad, South Street right-of-way, and Pear Street right-of-way in the City of St. Mary's, Auglaize County, consisting of approximately 0.54 acres of land, including street right-of-way. Copies of the request and a drawing showing the area in question are on file in the Engineering Department, 101 East Spring Street, St. Mary's, Ohio. This is by the Cable, Clerk of Council. I will ask people their indulgence, since we are in the process of moving. If you ask for the drawings of that, it may take more than immediately, okay? Next, under reports of city officials, we have the mayor's report. Mayor Hurlbut.
I have no additions or corrections to my report.
Any questions or comments from council? Next, we have the tax commissioner's report.
Mr. Harris, I have nothing to add to the tax commission report.
Any questions or comments from council? Next, we have the Director of Public Service and Safety's report.
Mr. Harris, I have nothing to add in my report, but I'll be glad to answer any questions regarding it.
Are there any questions or comments from council?
I believe I may have one.
You're good?
Yeah.
All right. We have no reports of committees of City Council. Under readings of ordinance and resolutions, under third readings, we have ordinance number 2024-22, an ordinance to amend chapter 187 income tax of the St. Mary's Municipal Code. Any questions or comments from council? If not, this being three readings, may I have a motion to pass, please? Ms. Willoughby? Mr. Aquero? Okay, may I see a show of hands who approve the passage? All yeses, thank you. Under second readings, we have resolution 2024-21 to approve the form and authorize the execution of a power sales contract with American Municipal Power, Inc., the assumption of an interest of Shelby, Ohio in that power sales contract, and taking such other actions in connection therewith regarding the Greenup hydroelectric project in the Meld Hall hydroelectric facility and to declare an emergency. Any questions or comments from council?
out there. Ready?
If not, this will be back for its third reading at the next meeting. Next, we have ordinance number 2024-23, an emergency ordinance vacating a certain 16.5-foot wide alley south of South Street between Pine and Pear Street in a 0.212 portion of Canal Street right-of-way in the east addition of the city of St. Mary's. Any questions or comments from council?
I have a comment.
Okay.
Yes, I had Tina Ward called me tonight, and she said, please address the council with, regarding the foundry and the land and everything and the issues, and she has no issues or no problems with it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments from council? If not, this will be back for its third reading at the next meeting. Next, we have ordinance 2024-24, an emergency ordinance rezoning 0.54 acres of land vacated between Canal Street and East South Street and between Pine Street and Pear Street in the east addition of the city of St. Mary's. Any questions or comments from council? This will be back for its third reading at the next meeting. Under scheduling miscellaneous business and closing, we have requests for Finance Committee meeting November 8th, 2024. 18, I'm sorry, 2024. Mr. Fitzgerald, how's that look to you?
I will be unavailable that week. But Dan, I should be available.
I'm okay with it.
You okay?
I should be good.
Okay. And,
Can I ask, is that, we're starting the budget?
Yes, sir.
Yes, very
yeah,
good.
starting the budget.
We will pass out the information to you on that day.
And then, Mr. Aquero?
Yep, I would like to make a motion to request a streets and sidewalks meeting. I talked to the mayor about this and some fellow councilmen. It is going to be about food truck permitting within the city of St. Mary's. Do I need to
Okay.
address this?
5:45.
Should be fine, yes.
Okay, 5:45 then?
Right after that.
Right after the Finance Committee meeting.
Yes.
And that's all four,
Wards.
all four words.
But everyone's welcome.
Yeah. Is there anything else come before council?
Mr. Harris, if I could, please.
Yes.
When council adjourns, we would just like to take our previous elected officials, Mayor Freewalt, Mayor McGowan, our council people, we'd just like to do a quick picture up here before everyone leaves if they have the time.
Okay.
We'll make it quick, I promise.
Is there anything else to come before council? Mr. Mr. Buck.
Yep, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Mr. Buck, second by Mr. Schmiel. All in favor, raise your hand. All yeses. Council is adjourned.
So if you could just